Alright guys, I have finally secured myself a personal best in Minecraft speedrunning 1.16.1 RSG. This took me, as you can see, 517 attempts to get this run, and there's a lot of mistakes in it. There's a lot of like blatant mistakes in it, but I'm proud of it. I could say that I took the time to do this, and I think it's a pretty good run for my standards. So the only issue with the run is that I was in class at the time, so the audio unfortunately has my teacher in the background. So I'm gonna have the audio off and you guys can just listen to this music, and I'm just gonna commentate over the whole thing and talk to you guys about my decisions and everything that went down during this run. 517th attempts, okay? All right, so I turn around, there's a village right behind me. I'm getting excited, and I told myself I was really gonna try in this run. I was gonna like do things as fast as possible. So I get wood here. All right, yeah, so I get wood here, and I do the standard thing. I make a pickaxe. Pretty normal stuff for the beginning of a village run. So what I do here is I get 6 pieces of stone, so you can make an axe, a hoe, and a shovel, just to have your basic stone tools, and then I'm gonna go for an iron pick. I got 7 by accident because I broke that extra piece with the piece went into the wall. Not a big deal. Got all my tools, I run over, get some more wood. Alright, so the weird thing about this run is that the nether spawn is actually really good. I just didn't know it because I was going the wrong way the whole time. Alright, so I'm getting beds, and I run over, I'm looking for the iron golem, I'm looking for a blacksmith. Punch the iron golem, jump over here, make my little 3-block tower like you do, or minute 20 in. Alright, so I start killing him, pretty standard stuff. Alright, and I got 4 iron from it, which is super good. Way better than 3, you don't want to get 3. So I'm running over, and I'm like, alright, let me get this bed while I'm here. And now I'm going to come over here and get this other bed, and we're going to get some hay on the way over. Now, I actually make a really big mistake here. So I had to trade, obviously, so I can get a bucket, which went really well. 1, 2, 3, got my emeralds. Super cool, right? I see lava over there. It's not a lava pool. So big mistake I make here. So I trade to get my bucket, right? Like you do, COD strats, right? The mistake I make here is not noticing that there are more hay bales to my right. And I end up leaving with not much food. And that is a huge issue. And it becomes an issue, and it's a huge time loss later. So I've got all the iron I need and my bucket. So now at this point, I'm just running over, trying to find a lava pool. But first, I go for a couple extra pieces of bread and the apples and another bed. So at this point, I have like 6 beds-ish. That makes 6, I believe. I know I can leave on 6 because I'm pretty confident 6 bedding. The dragon at the end. So I see a swamp biome to my right, and I know, or to my left, and I know that's not going to cut it because there's not going to be any lava pool. There's no chance of one over there. So I start booking it over to the plains biome. I rearrange my inventory a little bit because inventory tends to be a time loss for me when I have a messy inventory. So I start running, and I'm like, actually, I'm going to go behind the village because that area looks a little bit better. I'm losing a lot of time here. I don't have a good sense of time. I make my bread while I'm thinking of it. Make my iron pick before I forget, and I'm on my way. Throw out the slabs just because I don't need them. All right. So now we're just looking for a lava pool, hoping there's one in this plains biome. Because I knew there wasn't going to be one in the swamp, and it looked kind of too big behind me. So I'm running over this way. And when I take a right over here, I spot a ruined portal. So this ruined portal is actually finishable. My sprint key wasn't working there. This ruined portal actually has lava in it, so it's super good, super easy to get into. Pretty good pace for my standards. All right, so I'm climbing up here, and I know I'm gonna get the gold block when I get up there. Mistake I make here is not realizing that I could just use the lava around this portal. So I get the gold block, and I decide just to make my own portal next to it. I don't even know why I made that decision. Maybe I just thought it'd be easier for me. Hop down here. Took a heart of damage, which actually, I shouldn't have done that. I should have used the water bucket, because now I'm just losing hunger like crazy, not realizing that I don't really have that much food for a whole run. All right, so I'm building this. I'm like, wait, that's too many. So I put a block there, and I place it back. And then I start forgetting how to make these portals, but then I fix it in a second. I made a mistake of not breaking that magma block. I forgot to do that. Put water there, as you do. And I start making my portal at like the 5:30 mark, which is pretty good for me. Going kind of slow because I'm like forgetting how this sort of portal works when you're like making it from scratch. But I end up fixing it. Just trying to go as fast as possible. So I see that I gotta put 2 more down there. And I still don't realize that there's a magma there, and I try to enter. It's super bad. I don't even realize it. I still don't realize it, and now it hits me that there is a magma right there. And then I fix it. All right, so we're entering at the 6:11 mark. 6:12. All right, so pretty good looking spawn. See a gas, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take this guy out while I have the chance. Completely whiff. And completely whiff again. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Just leave me alone. So I start running away, and I'm trying to look for literally anything. My E-ray had been like not working during this time, so I was just like trying to figure out what to do. Paused my time for a second because I had to check what was happening in my class. Running over here. And breaking that. All right. So at this point, I'm like, all right, I don't have that much food. I need these mushrooms. I'm wasting a lot of time here, not even realizing that I don't really have that much food. So I knew I had made a mistake. I almost go for that red mushroom, but I decided against it for some reason. I was just trying to save time, I guess. I was just running, trying to see what I could do. I see I can get down there if I really wanted to, but I was like, that doesn't look like there's anything there. I'm like, okay, let me turn up my Quake Pro and see if I can see anything underneath me. Don't see anything. So I start running this way. I'm like, all right, let's commit to this side. Let me see what quadrant I'm in. I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's just fall down here. Let's see if I can see anything. Because this terrain is probably a little bit easier to run around. So I'm down here now, and I think, I'm not sure if I spot it yet, but I come down here, and there is going to be a bastion. So I come down here, and I'm like, all right, I don't want to take too much fall damage, so let's just slowly come down here to be safe. I don't have that much food. So I'm going to come up here, and there's actually an Enderman up here that I'm going to try to kill using my boat to see if I can get a pearl. So he actually doesn't get in it at first. He hits me once, which is actually a big misplay because that's going to cause a lot of hunger issues. So the piglin actually gets in the boat, which is actually a really funny part of this run. And I'm like, all right, well, give that back, please. So I'm running over here, and I believe I spot a bastion. Is it not yet? It must not be yet. Okay, give it a minute. So I don't have a lava bucket, which is another misplay. So I'm like running around this hoglin when I could have killed him for food. And I spot the bastion, so I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm 8:45 in. This is good pace for me. I know that you know, this could be a run. So I'm like, all right, I need blocks to get over there. So I start getting a lot of blocks with the iron pick. I know it's going to be fast. So I'm getting as many blocks as possible. I believe I leave with like 25. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I got to tower up over here. Let me boat down. And all right, I know this is treasure, and I know treasure is my best bastion. I'm like the fastest at treasure. Second is like bridge, and then I'm not very good at the other two. But I was very happy that this was treasure because I'm good at treasure. So I'm like, all right, let me just build up right here. I'm like, all right, I'm kind of out of blocks, but I have gold, so that's gonna help me when I get up there. Start using some wood. And we are almost up. Start running out of blocks. And we're up. Perfect. So I got really confused at this part of where I was because I thought normally that the gold blocks were on the side that the ramparts were on, but they weren't. And I was confused. I was like, wait, where am I? So I block off this because I know that's not where I need to make sure there's no piglins coming to get me. I'm like, all right, this guy's gonna come no matter what, so I'm just gonna build up right here. And I was like, you know what? Let me throw this guy some gold before I break it anyway, just in case, because I noticed he has a crossbow. And I'm like, he could shoot me off the edge very, very easily. So I grab these gold blocks, throw him a couple more just so he doesn't shoot me, and I start running up. So I know I have to break one of these blocks up here, but I couldn't really remember which one. So I was like, I think it might be that one, or it could be this one. So I just break them both just in case. And I am entering the room at like 10:45. I see a hoglin, and I'm like, I need to be careful here. So I'm like, I'm not going to go for that route. I'm going to go up top just in case. I'm hopping around these guys. And I start getting this gold here. So I got lots of piglins coming up, actually like a crazy amount. I actually get like loads down there. So I'm starting to run, I'm starting to speed up. I'm trying to think of like, okay, where is this gold block? I forgot for a second. It's right here. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I have lots of piglins, it's gonna be great. So I throw them all right there, and they all start trading. So very, very good pace for me. And I'm like, all right, let me trap these guys in, and they're going to start trading. And I was like, okay, while they trade, I'm going to go try to get to the other side. What I don't realize here is that I was going the wrong way. I was supposed to be going around the left side, but I was going around the right. So this was a little bit of a time loss, but it didn't end up being a big deal because it actually gives me a lot of blocks that I end up using later. So I'm like, wait, is it right here? No, it's not. So I start running back, and I'm like, oh, I can just build up to it right here. So they're still trading over there, and I'm like, all right, I'll build up here. And here it is. Okay, I get my gold blocks. I get a crazy amount over here. That's like, it's an almost perfect treasure. I fell down there, and I got scared that I was going to die, but I was fine. Yeah, almost a perfect treasure. I see that guy there. I'm like, all right, let me block that off. And I come back to my trading spot, and I don't see any pearls yet. I'm getting a little worried. They stopped trading. Okay, I threw them their gold. I notice I don't have any pearls, and I'm like, that's not good. This guy tries to come in. Eventually, he comes in. I get 14 pearls there on one trade, which was crazy. Got a little bit of string there, which was good. Got 1 obsidian so far, and I'm like, this is not going well. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what is happening? I'm like, I'm not even getting that well. And I get crazy pearl trades here. I'm starting to get an insane amount of pearls. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can almost leave. I just have no obsidian. So I'm like, I haven't checked the big chest yet. So I still have a good chance of getting obsidian. I'm just getting worried. I'm like, I only have like, what, 3 obsidian at this point. So I'm like, I need to make sure there's none over here that I'm missing. Yeah, no obsidian. I have loads of pearls, more pearls than I could ever need. So I'm like, all right, I need to check the chest down here to see if there's any. And I get loads out of this chest. I get 15. There were 12 in that chest, which is absolutely crazy. I'm like, all right, I need to start going because I know I'm on decent pace. And I throw a pearl in a horrible, horrible direction. I don't even know where I'm going. Like, I was just panicked, and I was like, I need to figure out, like, I just need to pick a direction I need to go. I picked the wrong direction. Let me tell you, this was the wrong way. At this point, I should be going back to my... So I start going back to my portal. I don't even know if I knew I was going back to my portal when I went this way. But that's what I was doing. This is the way back to my portal. So I start going this way. This is the complete wrong direction. Like, this sucks. I'm like, oh, let me go this way. This is wrong. This is not the direction I should be going. Like, I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm just like, I need to find a fortress. I'm just gonna run. I'm not even gonna think about coordinates. I'm just gonna run. This was a bad idea. This did not work out. This is most of my time in the Nether, is me just running around trying to find a fortress. So I look down there, I'm like, okay, this looks bad. I come down here. My game froze for a second, but that's okay. I'm like, where can I find a fortress? I don't know anything about my coordinates right now. I'm usually better at coordinate stuff, but I was like, I have no idea what this thing is. I see a hoggle in here, and I'm like, I still don't have a love bucket. I need this food. So they start hitting me like crazy, and I realize that I am still on normal mode, which I should have switched to easy when I got into the Nether. So I change it there, so they won't do as much damage. Then I'm like, all right, I need to eat this last piece of bread, and then I need to get lava to kill them. So I'm like, I have no food. So I'm like, all right, let me go find lava real quick, and then I'm gonna come back. So I run this way, no lava in sight to pick up, and I'm like, all right, I have no idea what to do. So that decision earlier to not get that bread, or that mistake not seeing it, was a big mistake. So I'm like, where's there lava? And I didn't notice that there's actually lava like right to my left that I can pick up. Right, I think I noticed it here. So I almost boat down, but then I'm like, oh wait, there's lava right here that I can pick up. So I end up picking it up, trying to figure out how to grab it, and I grab it. Okay. So now I just make sure it's not fake, and then now I'm running over back to the hoglins, and I'm like, all right, this is good, I'll get food, and then we'll keep looking for the fortress. A little bit of a time loss, but it's not a huge deal considering that this is my first PB, so I was like not that worried about time. So he hits me a couple times, or just once, and I was getting a little worried. I was like, all right, I could die pretty easily here, so let me be careful. So finish him off with the axe. There's a good amount of damage, and I'm like, wait, I can't even get that now because those guys are coming to me. So I'm like, wait, I can't put lava there because my food's gonna burn. So I'm like, all right, I gotta lead them over here. And there we go. And so yeah, I grab the food, I punch this guy, and I just book it. So I get 4 pieces here, not bad, not bad. I'm like, all right, wait, did that food burn? Yes, it did. Okay, so I only got 1 there, which it wasn't a big deal. You know, it's a little bit of a time loss, but nothing to feel bad about. I'm like, all right, that was a lot of damage that I just took, so I'm gonna make some armor. So yeah, I do that. That's pretty cool. Because I was worried about taking damage, and I didn't want to die at this pace because I'm rarely on this kind of pace. So, all right, I start running over here. I'm like, all right, where is this fortress? I'm like, all right, let me start chucking pearls, and let's just hope we find one. I'm going in the complete wrong direction. I didn't realize it. But I was like, all right, you know what? Let me start checking my coordinates because I don't know where I am. So I think at this point, I'm like trying to figure out how to do the pie chart thing. And I'm like, all right, wait, is there a spawner anywhere? I forget how to do pie chart. So I'm like completely screwing myself here. I'm like, wait, where's the pie chart thing? Just running out of time, just letting the time go. I don't even know how to do any of this. I'm just completely messing up here. So I'm like, all right, I can't figure this out. So I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna start checking pearls again. So I'm just making complete wrong moves here. I need to figure out my coordinate stuff. So I'm like, all right, that's basalt over there. So I'm not gonna go that way. I'll go where the terrain is good. So I'll build up here. Still trying to go as fast as possible, even though I don't know where there's a fortress. I'm basically doing this like with no F3 because I don't even know anything about coordinate stuff. So I'm like, all right, where am I? So I'm like, all right, probably best case is probably going this way, where the numbers are getting smaller. So purling around like this is just making my food go down like crazy. I was having fun though, because my movement felt pretty good, and I was just kind of like jumping around, trying to find a fortress. Still don't see one. Big open area to run around in, which is good. So I was starting to get worried. I was like, all right, this is not even like sub 30 pace anymore. I think my game froze here. Yeah. So now I am running over, still trying to find this fortress. I don't even know where I am at this point. I'm running around. Like, I don't even know, like, what, like, pace I'm on. So this is bad. This is just big mistakes the entire time. I was running around for a long time. And I'm like, all right, where am I? So I see a ruined portal down there, and I'm like, all right, let's go there, and let's see if we can find anything. And I'm like, I almost died there. Absolutely insane. That's, oh my gosh, that was almost a huge, I cannot believe I hit that pearl. I cannot believe I saved myself. I kind of want to watch it again. Yeah. I run over here, and I spot a ruined portal. How far back did I go? A little too far back, but that's okay. So yeah, I come over here, and I spot a ruined portal like way down there, and it hits right here, and I almost die. I throw a pearl and I save myself, and I was super excited about it. Oh, I was like, oh, I have to go with this run now. I have to go. Like, it's fate. It's fate. I have to go. I missed like 3 jumps in a row there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because I was nervous. So I'm like, there's still no fortress anywhere. I'm going the complete wrong direction. So I'm like, all right, what's in this chest? Anything? And I'm like, all right, that's nothing. That could have been a looting sword. I didn't even check. I don't know why I didn't check. That still could be. I should probably go back and check that. That could have been a huge time save. So I'm like, all right, what should I do? I have apples. Let me eat a couple of those. So I'm like, all right, let's build up over here. And let's see if I can see a fortress. So I come around here, and I believe I have done a complete circle. I don't even think I realized it at the time, but I had done a complete circle. Like, just like a big 360, basically. So I'm throwing a pearl there, and I go to my left, and I start getting wicked confused. I'm like, all right, basalt, I shouldn't be going that way, so I'll go this way. And I think I see my builds from earlier around this corner, and I'm like wicked confused at this point. Let me see when it happens. Yeah, right there, I see my blocks that I built, and I'm like, where am I? So I had gone a complete circle and didn't even realize it. Awful run. Like, this awful nether split. This is just bad. Like, this is not what you want to be doing. So I eat my apple, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna check a pearl. Like, I know my bastion's like that way to the right, so I'm like, all right, let me check a pearl over there, and then I'll look to my left when I get there. So I check a pearl, and do I make it? No, I don't. Such big time losses in this run. It's just pointless time loss. So I'm like, all right, how am I getting up there? So I think I chuck a pearl like right there or something, and I like find the angle, and I just chuck it there and hope I'd land it. So I end up landing up top, and I'm like, all right, cool. So I know my bastion's that way, so I start going to the left, because that's probably where like the best chance of a fortress is. So I'm like, all right, I'm out of food again. This is bad. So I'm like, all right, if there's no fortress here, this is basically dead because I have no food. Or if there's no hoglins, I'm like taking damage. I'm just falling all over the place. I just know that I'm going the complete wrong way. So I start building up here. I'm gonna head over to this other piece. I'm like, all right, let me use my obsidian. It's not a big deal. I'll have plenty anyway. So I actually make a mistake here. I go to use my boat, which is fine. You can use your boat. but I jump out at the last second, and it like makes me take damage still, which is annoying. So I'm like, all right, let's go to the left now, and let's see what we can find. And I see hoglins over there, and I'm like, all right, since I'm getting food in a second, I can afford to use this pearl. So I took a pearl, and I know this hoglin's about to see me. So once he sees me, I build up, and he almost gets me there. So I know how to kill these hoglins, do the lava, and the second it spreads like that, you click it again. So I know if he hits me once, I'm dead, so I let him die. And he gives me 3, which is good. So I'm still looking for the fortress. I'm like, all right, where is this thing? I know it has to be this way. And I actually am going like the right way. If I was looking for another structure, I was in another like coordinate area, and I was like opposite of the bastion. So there actually is a good chance of a structure being here. So I'm running. I'm like, all right, more hoglins. Should I kill them? And yeah, I actually do end up building up here and killing them. Because I know I need food. If I'm going to find a fortress, I'm going to need food when I get there. So we're at like 25 minutes so far, and it's not that bad. This is a lot better than like my usual runs. So I wasn't complaining. All right. So I think I'm thinking about checking a pearl here. Seeing if I can find something. My game freezes again. All right, so I'm like, it's probably, if it's gonna be somewhere, it's probably that way. So I check another pearl. And I think that, yeah, and I see another treasure. And I'm like, I'm confused at this point. I was like, did I go the wrong way? Is this the same treasure bastion? I'm like, no, it can't be. I have no blocks over there that I built up from. So I'm like, no, this is not the same treasure. This is another treasure. It looks like the same treasure, but it's not. So I'm like, okay, I'm just in a complete wrong area. I need to go this way. So I'm going to this quadrant now. I accidentally throw a pearl there, and I almost die, which is pretty crazy. So I'm like, all right, let me check a pearl over there. Ow. And I actually saw a bunch of hoglins over here, and I was like, I need this food if I'm going to be checking pearls. So I know that I'm not good with my pearls, so I'm like, all right, I just need to get this food. I need the food. And they both die, which is great. Get 6, which is awesome. Got like 2 from one and 3 from the other. So I'm like, all right, I think there's a fortress over here. I think there's a fortress. And I'm just running. And I don't see anything. And I'm like, oh, I might reset. Because I'm not finding anything at this point. I'm like, I keep almost dying from pearls because I'm just trying to pearl around like crazy. I cannot find a fortress for my life. I'm like, I keep going the wrong way. I knew I was going the wrong way. I knew I kept going in the wrong directions. I didn't know anything about coordinate stuff. So I see my portal, and then I realize, wait, that might have actually been the same treasure that I went to. So I actually think that might have been the same treasure. So I'm like, wait, if that's the treasure, and that's like where I went before, then what's this way? And I see another bastion right there. And I'm like, wait a minute, where the heck am I? So I'm getting confused at this point. I'm like, all right, let me drink a fire resistance. Let me like figure this out. So I know, I'm like, okay, I'm next to my portal. So that's good. Now I can figure this out. So I see the bastion. I'm like, all right, so if there's a bastion here, that means I have to go this way. So I throw a pearl right there. This was actually a really good nether if I had known where I was going. It really is. I don't even know how I landed there. But again, it's a time loss. It's a huge time loss, and I messed it up. Just trying to get up. Just messing up over and over. So I get up here, put a soul sand. I'm like, all right, I have to get out of here. All right, so I eat a pork chop, and I'm like, all right, let's just Try to get up here, miss the jump. I'm just messing up so much in this run. It's a terrible run, it really is, but this is my first PB. I'm proud of it just because it's my first ever run that I've, you know, finished. So I'm running over here and I'm like, all right, there has to be a fortress here. And I knew if there wasn't one that I was gonna reset the run. So I'm like, all right, let me get these mushrooms. And let's make sure there's not one right here. And I'm like, all right, there's not one right there. So let's keep going that way. So I go that way, make sure I don't fall. And I'm like, come on, where's my structure? Where's my structure? Because I knew there were 2 bastions. So I'm like, all right, there's gotta be a structure up here. So I finally, when I turn this corner, I think I spot it. I think I just barely see it to my right. Let's see. So I'm like, all right, let's try to jump this. I missed the jump, but it's fine. I have a little bit of food, not a huge deal. So let's see. Yeah, I spot it right there, and my game freezes right when I spot it. And then I fall, and I almost die right when I spot the fortress. I would have been so mad. I would have been pissed. If the second I saw a fortress, I died, I would have been so upset. So I'm at around 30 minutes now, and I'm like, all right, this is good sub-hour pace. I'm like, all right, or like sub-50 pace. I knew I could do it. So I'm like, all right, let me take this fire resistance, and we will go into our fortress. So I'm getting a little nervous at this point because I'm like, all right, this could actually be a run that I can finish. I'm actually at good pace compared to my usual. So I knew, I was like, okay, I have loads of pearls, so I don't need to be, you know, be careful. So I do this strategy here that I saw Dylan do once, where you put fire in the middle and it makes the wither skeletons go to the edge, and you can actually just hit them off, which is actually a really good strategy if you don't want to get hit. But there's only one here, so I decided to just kill it. And there actually might be 2. Yeah, there's 2. Kill the first one. I actually get hit by this one by accident because I got a little too cocky. So I'm out of food at this point. And I didn't have the wood to make bowls. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? So I'm like, all right, let me kill you. Get a blaze rod off it. I actually get really good rates here. So I'm like, all right, I have no bowls. I have no anything. I see a blaze up here. And I'm like, all right, let me see if I can kill him. I hit him once up there, and I hit him once here. But unfortunately, his blaze rod drops that way. Not a huge, it doesn't end up being a big deal, but. All right, so I am actually 3 for 3. I just didn't pick one of them up. Because it fell. So I'm like, all right, I can build my portal here. I'm like, do I have decent coordinates? I know your coordinates are supposed to be like 145, 145. I'm not in that bad of coordinates, I don't think. Fire resistance being very, very helpful here. I think I went like 6 for 6. Yeah, I went 6 for 6 on blaze rods. Crazy. Like that's nuts. It absolutely is. But I only have 5 because one of them dropped. So I know I don't want to leave with 5. I'm like, all right, I'm not good at like triangulating or anything like that, so I'm just gonna leave with as many as possible. Didn't get one there. I'm like, all right, these things need to spawn better, so I'm gonna give them more space to spawn. I could have blazed better here, but I didn't want to waste a bed. All right. So I am waiting now, just waiting for blazes to spawn. Pretty nervous actually, because I knew I was on decent pace for sub 45, maybe even like sub 50 or something. So I was like, all right, let me use another fire resistance and let's finish off these blazes. Get another one there. And do I get one here? No, I don't. Okay, so I'm sitting at how many now? 6? So I was like, all right, I kind of want to leave with 8. Because that's like my comfortable place to leave with, so. Kill another one. Doesn't drop. Kill another one. Drops. And doesn't drop. I'm like, oh, I want to leave with 8. I want to leave with 8 really bad because I was like, I just want to get a personal best. I don't want to be like stressed out about not having enough pearls or eyes. So I'm like, all right, come on, please drop, please drop, please drop. And he does, and I'm like, all right, I'm booking it. I'll go for 9 just in case. And let's see. And doesn't drop it. My axe breaks, and I'm like, all right, let me just get out of here. So I leave with, I'm gonna have 16 blaze powder, which is awesome. Nothing to worry about. I'm like, I notice it's nighttime, and I'm immediately like, I'm going to bed. I know I'm gonna have to be running around trying to get food. So I was like, all right, I'm not gonna be dealing with mobs around me. I still have this sharpness 4 golden sword. I'm like, all right, I'll use that on the mobs or on sheep if I see them. So I'm like, all right, I have 14 eyes. It's that way. I don't know how to do the coordinate stuff really to figure out how far it is. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna swim. I have a boat, so I'm gonna use my boat. I see a rune portal over there, but I don't go for it. I didn't have any food, and I was like, this is bad. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I knew I had some mushrooms, but I had no wood, and I don't see any good trees to go to. So I'm just going, trying to find it. And it was just nowhere. Like, there was no food in sight. I'm like, all right, I can use this sword. So I get off right here. And I see the wood, and I know I'm gonna have to chop it down so I can get some bowls if I want to keep running, because I'm about to lose my sprint. I don't see any animals that come up here to see if I can see any more. And I'm like, all right, there's no food here. We'll just have to make bowls. So I cut down a couple pieces of wood. Takes a little bit of time, but it's not a huge deal. So put down the crafting bench. And I make lots of bowls, and I can make like 4 stews, which is great. So I'm like, all right, I'll eat it. Like, I had to eat all 3 if I wanted to start regenning, and I really did. So that's pretty annoying. So I'm like, all right, let me clear my inventory a little bit real quick because it's a mess. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to get rid of because I was stressed out. I didn't know what I was gonna need. So I'm looking around, I'm like, what am I gonna do? And I'm like, all right, that's fine. I'll just leave now. So I throw a pearl, and I'm like, all right, it's still pretty far because it's going in like the same direction. It breaks, but that's not a big deal because we brought lots of extras. So I'm like, all right, I need to find animals. I think I actually paused my timer here to go to the bathroom. Yeah, I do. All right. So I'm clearing my inventory a little bit, and now we are just looking for food and for the portal. So I throw it again, and still in the exact same direction, so I'm just gonna keep running. So I kill this cow, so I can get cooked food, which is super cool. I thought I saw another cow over there, but I guess I didn't. So I'm not seeing anything. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go back this way towards where I think the thing is. Like, all right, I need to kill more cows if I want to survive this, because I know there are gonna be a lot of mobs in the stronghold. So I have to be careful and get as much food as possible. Plus, I want to be throwing pearls. So I'm like, all right, let me chuck a pearl over this mountain just so I don't have to climb it, which is super cool. And I actually land on top of the mountain, which is pretty annoying. I'm like, all right, let's just keep chucking pearls. Let's see how far I can make it. I land on top of a tree, which is exactly what I wanted. I throw another eye here, and it lags, but that's fine. Goes that way. I actually lose it here. I thought it broke for a second, so I turned on my hitboxes, and I can spot it around the corner, which is good. So I'm still just running. I don't see any food. I don't see any the The eye is not going in the direction I want. So I'm like, all right, let me get out my stone sword so I'm not wasting this this nice golden sword, because I might need to use it on the dragon later if my beds don't cut it. So okay, I'm like, all right, this is gonna be enough food, I think. So once I finish off these guys, I should be fine. So I get like 7 there, and I'm like, all right, I don't need any more food. I'm fine. I'm chilling. So I'm like, all right, let's just keep chucking pearls, and let's just try to go as fast as possible. We're just going. We are trying to go as fast as we can, because I knew I was on like sub 50 pace and I didn't want to lose it. So I'm eating. I knew I was going to be using a lot of food. A little bit of an angle here, which is good. I'm like, all right, I don't want to be using like that, but I'm like, all right, whatever, let's just use it. I have plenty. For the perch later, I wanted to see, I want to make sure I had enough. So I'm taking a little bit of an angle here. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but it's fine. So I go this way. As far as I know, it's still like really far away. I had no idea where it could be. So I come down here, and I believe I throw another one. At this point, I'm thinking that it like went on a different angle, but I think it was just the fact that I was off my route. But that's okay. So I'm like, all right, let's come down here, and we'll see if we can throw another one. My game freezes again, but it's fine. Freezes again. I don't know why it does that, but it's I think it's just I was on Zoom during this. So I come down here, and I actually, does it freeze again? That was crazy. I don't know why it's doing that, but I am just looking for the portal. I'm hopping up here, checking to see if I have any more food. And what was I thinking of doing here? Oh, I wanted to make an axe for the dragon. Okay, that's what it was. I was like, you know what I need? I need to make sure I have a good axe to kill the dragon with if my beds don't work, because I was worried that the sharpness sword was gonna break while I was trying to kill him. So that's how that works out. I'm like, all right, here's some ocean travel, or just a little bit in a pond. My game freezes again. It's either freezing or I'm checking my Zoom call. I'm not really sure what's happening there. I forget what I was doing. But I'm like, all right, I need to get this sub 50. So I throw a pearl, and it takes a little bit of an angle, and I'm like, all right, it's close, it's close. So I'm thinking it's like a couple 100 blocks away. So I'm getting excited here. I'm like, all right, it's gotta be pretty close. So I come around here, and I believe, yeah, I believe I see an ocean. At this point, I'm thinking it's pretty close, but it wasn't. So I see an ocean. I'm like, all right, it must be ocean exposed. And I see that go that way, and I'm like, it has to be ocean exposed. So I get that eye, and I'm like, all right, has to be down here. So I'm just looking, and I don't see anything. And I'm like, all right, let me see if I can look this way and see if I can see anything. Making sure it's not off to my left or anything. I do the strategy that I see Koroway do all the time, where you look under the water using your boat. I don't see anything. And I believe I actually see land coming up, and I'm like, all right, shoot. So I guess it's not ocean exposed. Which is pretty annoying, but it doesn't end up being a huge problem. All right, so I am coming around here. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna land on this island, and then I'm gonna throw another pearl. So once I land on this island, I believe I throw another eye to make sure I didn't miss it in the water. So I'm like, all right, it's still this way. So I'm starting to get confused here. I'm like, all right, this thing must be like either like I was thinking right now, like it must be like right here, you know? So I run like 100 blocks or so, and I'm like, all right, let me get some more wood so I can make sure I can make more beds when I get there, because I see this is like the one tree for a little bit, so not too concerned about that. So I'm like, all right, let me come over here and then we'll throw another eye. So I think I stopped like right about here. I see it takes a big angle. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's close. But I'm like, but where exactly is the question? So I'm like, all right, it could be in this water here, but let me make sure. So I come over here. So I throw another, and it's over there, and I'm like, huh. That breaks, actually, which is annoying. But I'm like, all right, I really think it's in this little pond, but let me just check one more time. So I throw one more, I think. Because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't like, I wanted to make sure that it was like right in between where I was thinking. I knew it had to be. I'm actually trying to open my my chunk graph here, but it's not opening for some reason. I didn't know how to do it. So I was like, all right, it has to be right here. I see my eye drop right there. And I'm like, all right, I know it's like right down here. So I'm like, all right, perfect. So I'm just going to grab my wood and I'm going to make a little thing here so I don't drown. And this is actually the craziest part of the run. So for some reason, when I put that block above my head there, the water doesn't go away. And I don't know why that is. So you'll see what happens here. I start dying and I'm like, wait a minute, why am I dying? I'm completely enclosed. I thought the water would have stopped. So I'm like, wait a minute, shoot. So I'm like, oh God, what am I gonna do? So I start digging out this wood. I realize it's gonna take forever. I'm like, I'm not gonna make it in time. So I literally paused my game here and I'm like, wait. I knew I had only 2 seconds to decide what I was gonna do. And I was like, okay, I have a water bucket. So the only thing I can do right now is grab the water bucket and quickly grab the water and save myself. So I was like, all right, I have to do this quick if I'm gonna do it. And I land on half a heart and I'm spamming that water bucket because I'm all freaked out. And I was like, just don't drown. So the water goes away and I was shaking like crazy. I was like, this almost just got ruined by me drowning for a reason that I cannot even explain. I thought the water was supposed to block itself off, like when it's in an enclosed space like that. I guess it didn't. I don't know why. So I dig right into the stronghold here, and I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, this is good pace. And I think I can actually turn up the sound now because this is when I turned off my Zoom call, and I was like, all right, I can't listen to my Zoom call right now. I actually need to focus. So you should be able to hear the actual game now. So I'm like, all right, I need to find this portal room. So I'm like, this is a mine shaft portal room, which is super annoying, super frustrating. I'm like, all right, maybe it's this way. Don't see anything. That sucks. So I actually go through like this door area and I actually hear a silverfish through this wall and I'm like, whoa, wait, it's right here. So I see if it's down here first. And I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna look for this thing, let me take these two out. So I take out the spider and the skeleton. I'm like, all right, I know I heard a silverfish up there. Is it around this corner? No, it's not. So I'm like, what did I miss? So I knew that I heard it around here somewhere next to this door. So I'm like, where is it? Little do I know that it's literally right above me right now. So I'm like, all right, let me stand here again and see if I can hear it. And I hear it like right to my left. And I'm like, that must be it right there. So I see a little hole that I can climb through. And I'm like, all right, let me go through there, climb up, and I'm in the portal room. Very good to have subtitles on. I'm very happy that I heard that. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a zero eye. Thank God I got those extra blaze rods. So I jump in. Do I jump in? No, I don't. Okay. Before I go in, I actually decide to make my beds here because I didn't want to do it while I was in there because I was nervous. So All right, I'm like, all right, let me craft right here. So I think that's like 10 beds, which is a lot, I know. But I wanted to make sure I got my PB here. And I'm trying to decide like what I want to take in my, what do I want to have in my hotbar? Do I want to have a boat so I make sure like an Enderman can't get me? Do I want to have a water bucket just in case I get knocked into the air? Do I want to have a pickaxe? Do I want to have my axe? Do I want to have a pearl so I can throw it? So I'm like, all right, let me go with the axe and the water bucket, and I actually changed to my pickaxe so I can get out of here. I didn't expect this to happen. And so I'm starting to dig up here, 48 minutes in. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna need some blocks. So build up with my wood here, dig up a couple more, and there it is. And I grab my last bits of wood. All right, so I put another bed in my inventory, and I have 7 beds. And I know that I can 7 bed. I know I can do that pretty confidently. And I make sure I'm on Quake Pro. I think I check it twice, actually. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, make sure I have my obsidian, and I start running over to make my little perch tower. And I don't think I noticed it at this point, but these towers are actually crazy high, which is really good because you'll get a quick perch. So I run over here and I'm like, all right, let me get my axe. Let's not look at any Endermen. 49 minutes in, I was starting to get very nervous because I wanted that sub 50. I wanted that sub 50 really bad. So little do I know here that he's actually like about to perch, and I did not even realize it because he was so high up. I was confused. So I'm standing here and I'm just waiting, and I noticed that he's perching, and I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, this was like an insta perch. So I'm running, going as fast as I can. I place the bed down, and boom, and I absolutely destroy him. Crazy. I 5-bedded the dragon, and I don't know what the final time was. I think it was like 49:52. I think it was 49:52. But I'm actually really proud of that. I think that was a really decent run for my standards. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I'm very happy that I finally have a PB. Even if it's horrible, I have something to, I have a goal now. Like sub 45 is my next goal. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I really did. And I hope you stay tuned for my future videos where I'm going to be kind of go for sub 45, sub 40, sub 30, and sub 20. So thank you guys so much for watching, and tune into my Twitch streams. I don't have a consistent schedule yet, but make sure you go check me out. And yeah, so follow me if you want to know when I am live. So yeah, thank you so much. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and yeah, see you guys next time.